my fellow project managers. Welcome to PM Anonymous for today. Today we're going to be taking a look at certain student questions that came in. In fact, we got 3 questions and we're going to take a look at them one by one because this could very well help people who are getting ready for the exam and those who are about to jump in even tomorrow. Okay, so let's talk about these very quickly. So the first question that we have here is from our friend Wilanda, who is actually going to be on our tech camp training next week. You know, we call it tech camp because the PMP exam can be quite technical in schedule management, cost management with the WBS. So the triple constraint, schedule, cost, scope, and then throw in quality and risk. It gets pretty intense. So we have a boot camp starting on Monday, and the cool thing is it's in the evenings, so you don't have to attend during the day. That's 7 Eastern to 9. So this question is actually from one of our attendees of the tech camp. So any suggestions for individuals who are not normally good test takers? Wow, great question, Wilanda. So for those folks who are not typically good test takers, if I'm guessing right, I think you're talking more about test anxiety and things such as that. I have some ideas for that. So first of all, let me disclose to you that the PMI, the Project Management Institute, they will listen to you if you told them you have some sort of difficulty that, like ADHD, for example. I had a student that had ADHD and contacted the PMI and let them know, this is what's happening with me, and my doctor has given me this to show that I deserve more time because of what this challenge I face. So anyway, long story short, he got the extra time on the exam. He didn't need every single bit of it, but it was helpful to him. And at the end of the day, he's a PMP, like today. So that extra time did help him. So right off the bat, you do have extra time, and this extra time could very well make it for you on the exam. Something else to be aware of is if you have a solid preparation. I'm not talking about hurried and rushed. No, great preparation, spending a good amount of time for mastery, to familiarize yourself with the content, to really know the content well. That can also help, okay? And the more you practice mock exams, the more you practice the art of taking the exam, the better you're going to get. So you might have to spend more time than normal in preparing for the exam, but if you do spend more time, it could very well help you. Another problem that students have is identifying key information. Again, it takes time for this key information to sink into you, and for it to sink in, you're gonna have to spend time letting it marinate. Marrying the PMBOK guide to real world. Marrying the PMBOK guide, marrying this book, the Project Management Body of Knowledge Guide, to real world is really going to help you. It's going to help you remember stuff. It's going to help you link ideas. It's going to help you overcome some of these problems that we're talking about here. Another problem that some students encounter is they're not able to focus. They're not able to focus enough on what is at hand. Again, it's the art of practice. I would say practice organizing your thoughts, practice organizing your ideas and focus on the exam. More than anything else, it's practice makes perfect. And things such as making careless mistakes, and other memory challenges, the more intentional you are about practicing to overcome those habits, the better it will be. But going back to my first idea, I think if you let the PMI know if you experience any of those challenges like ADHD, I think that will be good. Also, the time of the day is another key factor. Some folks don't wake up till 12. I mean, like their brains wake up at 12. Anywhere before that, they're still asleep. Now, you need to know what day, what time, and even for some people, what day works best for you. Some people can't cope with a week. They want weekends, and it has to be weekend in the afternoon. Whatever the case, find that optimum time for yourself. When does it work best? For me, it was mornings and weekends, and that's when I took my time. Early in the morning, 8 o'clock on a Saturday. So you want to find out what works best for you in these regards. The bad thing about morning exams, taking your exam in the morning, we know it makes students stay up late, right? I have a lot of students who have confessed, Phil, I stayed up till 2 or till 3. My exam was at 8 or 9. No. If that's you, you want to shift your exam to a time of the day where you're not going to be burning the midnight oil needlessly. Some folks needlessly do it. In my mind, it's just a crutch and a bad habit that folks need to let go of, because if your exam is at 8 in the morning, reading up till 3, 4, 5, it is not going to change the outcome drastically or at all, in my opinion. So you might want to be aware of that. Some folks have certain challenges when it comes to taking these exams, that you have to stare at the screen for a long time. And this is where, if you have those difficulties and they are acute, again, extra time can help you take the edge off by taking more breaks, walking away from the computer and coming back, and then it's different. It doesn't feel like it did before you left. Also, take breaks. So eating and taking, go with fruit or water, those are allowed, and this could help you. It could help you feel refreshed, feel renewed, and feel refocused. So why do I think eating is important? I think it is quite important because as you're going through the exam, you're burning a lot of calories and glucose, and my goodness, those exams are tedious. They require you to be at peak mental performance. They require you to be well rested. They require you to have eaten properly. And I often tell my students this. I tell them, if you're going into this exam, it's not about what you know. It's about the amount of bandwidth that you have to process whatever you do know. So knowing stuff is great, but if you cannot process, the thoughts, it's not going to be a nice outcome. So my suggestion to you is have a good rest, make sure you get some good food, and as you come into the exam, just keep an eye on the time so that you don't find yourself with 2 hours left and you're like, oh, I've only answered 40 questions. Like me, my exam, I'd only answered 20 questions and 1 hour had gone. So it was almost a setup for a disaster until I decided that I would do something different. And I'm going to explain that in a different session or later on today. Something else you can do, if you're not a great test taker, break your exam, like I said, into segments. Keep your eye on the clock every 40, 50, or 20 or 25 questions. If you need to take a break or step out, that kind of thing. And if PMI has given you more time for the exam, then you definitely want to use that. Okay, so those are just a few ideas. Excuse me. All right, let's move to our next question here. Any recommendations for managing time on the actual test? I ran out of time on my first test, took 8 minutes for my brain dump, page 25 of 49 processes and 26. Okay, so my suggestion in this regard, since you know that this could be a kind of icky, sticky area, if you are not able to do your brain dump in 5 minutes or less, I would not waste time on that page 25 brain dump, especially if it's eaten into your time. the best way to manage time is to find your gimmies and find your gimmies quick. So anytime you find a gimme, you're going to answer it and you're going to move on and find the next gimme. So a gimme is an easy question, which is like a giveaway for you. It's like they gave you the question away. It's so easy because you're strong in that regard. So I want you to be aware of your strength and really use them, upplay those strengths, because you could come across some questions and you're done in 1 minute. Other people are on it for 10 minutes. Those are the kind of questions you want to find. You want to answer them quick, and then you want to move on. So you want to find all of those questions which are so easy for you to answer. I call them gimmies. Find your gimmies. Okay? So if you find yourself running out of time on the test, that's not good. You don't want to run out of time on the test. And again, it goes back to the art of practice. You got to have to practice again and again and again, just to make sure you got your plan down to a science. Okay, so that's my 2 cents for that, about managing time. And then the third one here, any recommendation for comprehending the test question on first read or pass? So that's not guaranteed, but I just say again, the more you practice, the more you stay at it, the more you're going to get good. You're going to have to apply yourself to practicing various types of questions. I would say our mock exams, they give you a good run for time spent taking a mock, because if you can pass our mock exams, it's definitely a great sign. If you cannot, that's not a good sign. So I would like you to get to the point where you're actually passing our mock exams, and that would be my recommendation, taking our mocks again and again. So having to read the question multiple times is not a problem. It's not a bad thing. Shortening the time spent and shortening the takes, it's only going to come from practice. There's just no way out. Practice is going to make perfect. The more you practice, the better you're going to get. So that would be my recommendation. I know a lot of it boils down to using the time the PMI could give you if you put in a request based on the doctor's note. Or, like I said, practice. You just got to practice the art. It's like, I asked students, how many kids have you got? And they say, oh, I've got 2 or 3. And I asked them, okay, do you need to go back to read up their names each time? And they're like, no. And I'm like, this is how you need to know the PMBOK guide. You need to know the PMBOK guide, the ITTOs, the processes. You got to know them like you know a family member. They need to be that familiar to you for your exam. So that's my 2 cents regarding those 3 questions. Again, if you want to attend this boot camp, you need to go to www.pmsucceed.com. We're going to be answering more of these questions, and we're going to be covering all of the technical areas of the PMP exam: schedule, cost, scope, risk, quality. You want to be there, all right? So come prepared, and I look forward to seeing you in the actual class. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again in another episode of Project Managers Anonymous. Bye for now.